This was the first time ever that I went to see the film without watching the trailer. However, if you see two names like Ridley Scott and Joaquin Phoenix next to each other, it's like, it has to be good. So there's no brainer. However, I also thought that before I went to watch Oppenheimer, because I was like, oh, this has to be good, like, of course. I did not like it. Let me know in the comments if you disagree, but I just felt like that film was overrated, and maybe like the storyline was just, I know it was 3 hours, very unnecessary 3 hours, and overall I was like, I left the cinema feeling like, I don't know. So I was kind of worried that Napoleon is going to be the same story. So like, obviously we have amazing names, but I thought, oh my god, I don't know. So I didn't even watch the trailer, bought the tickets, went to the cinema, and of course, right from the start, like the opening of the film, the vibe, the tone, reminded me of Gladiator. Of course, it's Ridley Scott's signature, but emphasized as well when Joaquin Phoenix joins the screen, and I was like, oh wow, like I feel I'm going to the past and watch Gladiator for the first time. So that was a very good sign. Again, one of the first scenes set the tone and explained to the audience that this is going to be basically a bloody and very graphic, raw, historic film showing something that stopped me from eating my popcorn despite the fact that I was very hungry. Just like the rest of the audience, basically. It's really funny, and this is why you should go to the cinema, to have this togetherness, the experience, all, with other people. When everybody's like eating their crisps, and all of a sudden you have this bloody, very graphic scene, and it's all quiet because like everybody stops eating. It's just like, everybody's like, ew. So that was awesome. And of course it was not super easy to watch, but like it just illustrates how it actually was like 300 years ago. So fair enough. The sound design and color grading and lighting in battle scenes, that is Oscar nomination 100%. Like I was literally feeling like I'm there. It's one of those things, and I have to repeat this, like you have to watch this in the cinema because it's one of those films, like you can watch it at home on your laptop screen, but it will never have the same effect. Of course, Joaquin Phoenix's performance was it was performed with ease, just like any other thing that he touches, honestly. So I'm thinking, again, Oscar nomination, possibly. But what I want to say, what surprised me about Napoleon himself is, I don't know how far they were from the actual, like, the image and portrait of Napoleon. I think they were pretty close. Let me know in the comments if you know a little bit more about history. But the way he was portrayed was like this simple man who fell in love with a woman that did not seem to care about him and married him, but also cheating on him at every opportunity, making an idiot out of him in front of everyone. And he had this obviously need to prove himself, like, I am a man, and I know everybody knows why my wife is cheating on me. That makes me look like I'm a complete loser. So I'm going into these battles to win and to prove that I am the man, And he was very like the performance of Napoleon. So the performance of Joaquin Phoenix of Napoleon was very subtle. It was like he seemed to be like very unemotional mostly, and kind of like very quiet. And it was really interesting for me to see that, like, the simplicity, and obviously completely powerless before women. It's like, honestly, like it's I guess this is it. That's the point of life of a man. And you just women just do whatever they want to you, make you suffer. And of course he was cheating as well, like that. That's the whole point. But when he was cheating on her, he was like, yeah, fine. But when she did this, everybody was telling him like, your wife is cheating on you, by the way, like this is not okay. And of course, she could not give him a child. So, he needed to find somebody else. What I really liked about the whole film and storyline and script was hilarious one-liners with it was a lot of like satire, and I don't want to say parody, but kind of very kind of like humorous situations that I'm pretty sure were happening on a daily basis back then. So it really it left the audience with a smile on their faces, including myself. The storyline was moving very quickly. Again, unlike Oppenheimer, but it was just like chewing gum or mozzarella. So the storyline, super quick. I did not even realize, oh my god, we are approaching the Battle of Waterloo. So obviously the last one. So I was like, wow, this went really quickly despite 2 hours and 40 minutes of a runtime. So I was super pleased with this. I think it's just gonna go very quickly. You don't have to worry. Some people are worried these days, like, oh my god, this film is almost 3 hours. Like, oh, trust me, this is going to go very quickly. So I'm not going to spoil the ending, just, in case you have not seen it yet. But the last scene, and I mean like the actual last shot of that film, the way it was filmed, the lighting, the camera angle, everything about that scene and what happened, I'm not going to spoil what happened. If you watched it and seen it, let me know what you thought about the last scene, the last shot. Because all these blockbusters usually have this, overrated endings. Like, you expect them to be like, wow, give it to me. And they don't deliver usually, unfortunately. Some of them deliver and it fills you with yes. And it can also be like this grand ending, but also like very subtle one. And I like this ending because it was a subtle one and it completely matched with the personality of Napoleon himself. And I love that you have this blockbuster film, but you don't need the blockbuster ending. All you need is to finish the story, and basically in the same way, like, people die in the same way that they live. So the scene, how I'm talking about the way it was filmed, left you with a smile on your face in this incredibly sad moment, because you realize it's a satire. It's the whole life is basically a parody. The whole life is a joke. It was all for nothing, basically. And he was a very little man trying to prove that he's very big. End of story. If you've seen it, comment below. If you haven't seen it, comment below. I want to know your thoughts and I want to know when you're going to see it. And don't forget, it's the cinema experience, so go for it. Subscribe.